It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talk Flicks podcast. I'm your host, the Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. I welcome the podcast where me, the Captain, talks about movies, TV, sports, flicks, anything you can see on a two-bird screen. I'd like to get in here and give my unique perspective, because after 46 years of being on planet Earth, I've developed a unique perspective about these movies, TV, sports, and flicks, and I'd like to guarantee about it. Because just maybe you care. And according to the stats, looks like you do care. I want to give a big shout out to Muskegon, Michigan. Got some plays over Muskegon this past week. Gracias, gratitude, todo reba. And Muskegon, I've been to your city a couple times, and I must say this, it is a lovely city. I enjoyed myself when I was there. I've been there for a while, but when I was there, it was pretty cool. Maybe I have to make another trip up to Muskegon, hang out, chill, see the sights, have some food. Yeah, it's cool when I get plays in my own state. I love that. Thank you for supporting me, Michigan. Appreciate that very much. Gratitude, gracias. And just FYI, back in the day, went to school to be a radio DJ, but never got a job. I think I never got a job because I just didn't have the focus. If I just would have stayed focused, maybe that would have enabled me to become a world famous radio DJ. But I didn't. It didn't allow me to become the greatest podcaster in the Matrix. Some to debate might be true, might not be true. But I said it on the internet, so it's gotta be true, right? Because everything on the internet is facts. Not facts, true, false, propaganda, fake news, the Matrix. Roads, trees, plants, sun, moon, stars, water. I don't know. I didn't make the internet. Ask the people that made the internet. So when you're online, just watch out. Be aware. Anyways, I can ramble all day, but I won't. Let's get right into the podcast. But first, a word from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, the holidays are here. And maybe, just maybe, you need to get a present for somebody. Maybe you do. And maybe that somebody drinks coffee or tea. Well, if you got somebody in your life that you got to get a present for, and they drink coffee or tea, ladies and gentlemen, we got a coffee mug. We got a tea mug for you. Yeah, over the existing fictions at the store. And this coffee tea mug says, Buenos dias. They'll get that like, bro, where did you find this? A coffee mug that says Buenos dias? Like, I never see those in the store. Yeah, they don't ever carry those at the store. You go to the store, you ain't gonna see that. You go to the existing fictions at the store, you will see that. So if you want to get a mug that says Buenos dias, good morning, that you probably won't see at the store, go for the existing fictions at the store, get you a coffee mug that says Buenos dias, give it to your people, give it to your friends, give it to your family, for presents, and they'll be like, wow, gracias, a mug that says Buenos dias. Wonderful, wonderful. I never see this in the stores. That's what they're gonna say. So anyways, go to existing fictions at the store, check out the mug. Now let's get on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again. 501. We have now entered the 5th level of the podcast. The first level was 0 to 100. The second level was 100 to 200. The third level was 300 to 400. The fourth level was 400 to 500. The fifth level was 500 to 600. We are now at the 5th level of the podcast. We are moving. We are grooving. We are talking about movies, TV, sports, and flicks with the purpose of trying to expand our minds. So are you ready? Are you ready to expand your mind, to grow just a little bit more, to just be a little bit sharper, a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser than before? You ready for that? You ready to do that? Well, let's go. Let's try to get there. Let's get there together. Let's explore movies, TV, sports, and flicks, and let's see if we can expand the mind just a little bit. So this week, in our quest to expand the mind, I'm going to talk about my favorite franchise on planet Earth. And if you've been here before, you know what that is. If you haven't, let me tell you. My favorite franchise on planet Earth is the one, the only, Star Trek. Yeah, beat me up, Scotty. Live long and prosper. You know what it is, right? So yeah, I'm going to talk about that this week. But before I get into that, let me tell you a couple things. First of all, there will be spoilers. And second of all, I do own some shares in the parent company of Star Trek. I just want to make you aware, be clear and transparent to let you know So now that I told you that, let's get into the podcast. So this week, I'm going to talk about Star Trek. And to be specific, I'm going to talk about Star Trek Prodigy Mindwalk, right? So I'm going to talk about. Yeah. So this week was another fine episode. A lot of cool Easter eggs. You know, back in the day, I was a salamander. Remember that? Shit, they went there. If you've been watching Star Trek for a long time, when Captain Janeway says, yeah, I was a salamander once, you know what she's talking about. If you do not know what she's talking about, go watch Star Trek Voyager. That's just one Easter egg I want to point out because that I think is one of the least favorite episodes, I believe. I think it's one of the more hated episodes, if I remember correctly. And they kind of did a little wink to that. She was like, I can handle anything. I was once a salamander. So crazy. I'm going to rewatch that episode this week because it's been a long time since I've seen that. And I remember people not liking it, if I remember correctly. But I'm going to watch it again with 2022 eyes to see, how is it? She was once a salamander. So crazy. So anyways, there's a lot of Easter eggs, of course. But in this week's episodes, it was basically Freaky Friday with the Prodigy crew. And when I say Freaky Friday, I'm talking about that movie back in the day with Lindsay Lohan and whoever, where they swap bodies. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it happens in many shows over the years. There's always a movie or an episode of a show where characters will switch bodies, right? I mean, they just did it in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I mean, it's been done in Star Trek a million times. But every time it's done, it's still so cool. It's just interesting to see it done with different people. And to hear Kate Mulgrew playing Dalby and Janeway was absolutely fantastic. She was saying lines that you would never hear Janeway ever say. She was acting how Janeway would never act. And it was so fun and so funny. It was so cool. It would have been so cool to see live action Janeway act like that. I was hearing it, seeing the cartoon version, thinking like, to see it in live action, that would have been even better. But it was still cool just to hear her say things and act in ways that the Janeway we know would never do. It was hilarious, so funny. It was craziness. When Dal's inhabiting Janeway's body, the doctors kind of say, something weird's going on here. Says, you need to drink this coffee. And then Dal, being Janeway, drinks the coffee and like spits the coffee out. Now, if you know Janeway is all about the coffee. She loves the coffee. Janeway would never spit the coffee out. But Dal in the body doesn't like coffee, so he spits it out. And maybe in the coffee level, like, bro, you waste that good coffee because I would never spit out coffee either. Me and Janeway are kind of the same wavelength when it comes to that. So anyways, there's a lot of craziness. It was very fun, very funny. But I want to go just a little bit deeper into one aspect of the show like I always do. So in this episode, Dal and Janeway switch bodies. They switch bodies. They got to see how the other half lived. They got to see the other perspective. And like I said when I talked about the Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode where the same thing happened, I'm going to go there again. I think it's a good thing to look at again. Basically, in the episode of Strange New Worlds, just like this episode, two characters switch bodies. And like I said in the previous podcast, in real life, a lot of times what we need, or I feel we need, is to be able to see the world in a different viewpoint other than your own, right? We may see the world in a certain way. I mean, I know I do. I see the world in a certain way with a certain lens, a certain perspective based on my experiences and what I intake and read. And I can't always get a clear 360 view of anything just with my own perspective. So if you can put on someone else's hat, or if you can see from a different viewpoint, I feel that's a good way to move through life. Now, we can't switch bodies like they did in Star Trek Prodigy. That's not possible in 2022. But still, we can still try to position our mind and see information different than our own and listen to different perspectives than our own just to try to get that different viewpoint. It's going to be the closest way we can get to switching bodies. But I feel to navigate the current state of the globe, in order to navigate effectively and just do better and achieve more and grow more, seeing from various viewpoints is essential in my point of view. I try to live this all the time. I intake a lot of varied opinions and ideas from all different viewpoints through books, media, podcasts, TV shows, whatever, just to try to get a fuller picture of the globe. Because I feel that switching bodies or switching minds, like they did in the show, is an effective way to achieve that. And so when Janeway was in Hal's body and when Hal was in Janeway's body, they got to see just slightly different viewpoint. And I think it's a good lesson for today's world is that in a world where we're so in echo chambers, to step out those echo chambers and just hear different perspectives. It is very achievable. If you're surrounded by all the same thinking people in your real life, that's very possible. You may be surrounded by a bunch of people that all think the same way you do. It happens quite a bit. But if you want to step outside that and you can't step outside your physical reality, all you gotta do is go to the internet. All you gotta do is go to the gram or TikTok or Facebook or any kind of social media or podcast and just listen to something different than your own viewpoint. And I feel this will just let us better deal with the world. This will let us see more clearly. This will give us a better viewpoint of everything. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe that's not the way. Maybe that's not how you elevate. I don't know. I'm just living life trying to figure things out, trying to experiment. But currently in 2022, I feel if we get multiple viewpoints, multiple perspectives, and look at them, observe them, intake them, and add it to our own perspective, we can see the world in a clearer, better way, which is going to help us navigate the world in a better way, in my opinion. Maybe it's total BS. I don't know. I'm no expert. I'm not an ologist. I'm not an expert. I just sit around thinking, and that's what I thought of. So anyways, Star Trek Prodigy this week was very comedic. It's very fun. A lot of cool Easter eggs. Very exciting episode. This show is real Trek, bro. They're telling Voyager stories. I mean, they're telling Janeway stories. It's about the Prodigy crew, of course, but they're getting a Janeway story in there as well. It is beautiful. It's awesome. It's so cool. I never thought at 46 years old I'd be watching the kids show and be so entertained by it, but it's what's happened. It is true. I'm 46 years old watching a kids cartoon and I'm totally comfortable and confident with it and I don't even care what nobody thinks. I'll tell everybody, say, bro, I watch that cartoon for kids. I don't even care, bro. It's fun. There's lessons there. It's entertaining. It takes your mind off the stresses of life. It is dope. So if you have not seen Star Trek Prodigy, I highly recommend you check it out. Go over to the Paramount Plus app. Check it out. It's dope. And while you're there, watch all the other Star Trek. Because like I say all the time, Star Trek is the best franchise in the cosmos. Nothing's better. I say it all day, all the time. It's real, bro, at least in my opinion. So go check out Prodigy, go check out Star Trek. So dope. And until next time, we'll see. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellent, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle. Until next time, it's Captain Peace.
The Captain Talks Flicks.